Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Generous tipper goes to third. The Wine Steward responding to the challenge so far. Here's Locked right alongside. Locked, the Wine Steward. It is locked to win the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity for Jose Ortiz.
Top of the stretch, and it's Dornoch who's kicked. Dornoch is now opening up that margin. It's Dornoch who's up by 3-4 wide, just tucked in there. Sierra Leone is rolling. Here comes the big bounding strides of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone from last to first. This is a big effort. Battling on is Dornoch, who's back to second. Sierra Leone is plugging in. Dornoch is coming back. Dornoch not done. It's gonna be a photo, and I think Dornoch got there. Believe the magic. Dornoch battles back Sierra Leone.
What's up, everybody? Colin Sheehan here on Trust the Profits. Please like and subscribe. There you had it. There's 2 3-year-olds that we haven't seen yet this year, and on Saturday, not only do we get the return of both of them, we get them in the exact same race, and that is the Fountain of Youth. This is, in fact, a first look at the field for the Fountain of Youth, and of course, Dornoch and Locked are 2 of the highly anticipated returns to the track this year. Of course, Locked, I have a very big interest in, being a 10% owner in the Game of Silks. The new season for Game of Silks starts March 8th, so head over to silks.io to certainly check that out. Certainly something that if you get into the Discord, you can see everybody starting to make their plans for the syndication for Season 2, including myself. Now, of course, with the Fountain of Youth this weekend, we've also have the John Battaglia Memorial, the Gotham Stakes, and the Fountain of Youth, of course, is worth 50 points. So you have, and the San Felipe, that's the other race I was trying to think of. So 3 races worth 50 points this week. And as we take a look at the current Kentucky Derby standings, of course, Timberlake is one of those returns that we just had last weekend, who was very impressive. And you basically got 3 horses there on the top who you can, aside from not making the starting gate from illness or scratching, Timberlake, Track Phantom, Sierra Leone, Fierceness, you figure, all have the points to get in. Of course, Common Defense had a big run, and Stronghold 2 weekends ago. So the picture is starting to take form. And with 3 races this weekend worth 50 points, you have to figure you're going to get 3 more horses in the starting gate, and hopefully that is Locked. Let's take a look at the field for the Fountain of Youth. You get a field of 9. Speak Easy, Le Dombro, Victory Avenue, Real Macho, Dornoch, Merit, Frankie's Empire, Locked, and Dancing Groom. The interesting 2 horses that are certainly here, to me, is Speak Easy and Victory Avenue. These are 2 horses that ran together in a race, a maiden special weight at Gulfstream on January 27th. The impressive thing is the speed figures that these 2 horses came back with as we take a look at the past performances here. And you can see Speak Easy getting that 103 for a Brisnet speed figure in his first race is impressive. And then you go down and look at Victory Avenue. Look at that, a 100. And generally, Gustavo Delgado, first time out, his horses aren't as strong. And remember, that's something that we said last year with the debut of Mage. And we had Video Hippico right here or on Doubling Down, who brought that information to us. I've reached out to him regarding Gustavo Delgado and this horse, Victory Avenue, whose first performance was very impressive. And I think he'll be on Doubling Down with us this week to get some news directly from the track. You can see my notes there. I don't think distance will be an issue. Sired by Arrogate, the dam is out of Epic Scatway, out of a Scat Daddy. You can see the average winning distance, 7.9 and 7.2 for Victory Avenue. Going back to the top, one thing that I wrote down is that you have 5 horses returning from the Holy Bull Day, 2 coming off of the long layoff. That is the aforementioned Dornoch and Locked. And you get the 2 running back from January 27th, Speak Easy and Victory Avenue. Fierceness came back, of course, and had finished 3rd in in the race in the Holy Bull. I think you get a much tougher field here in the Fountain of Youth, and Dornoch's going to have to be presented with speed from the 1, 2, 3, and also the 6 hole as we scroll down to a horse by the name of Merit, who won by 10 lengths in his first race on November 4th. Came back with an optional claimer February 3rd. So you're getting second off the layoff for Merit, who is a Safi Joseph trained horse. Of course, right above him, of course, is Dornoch. You can see Dan Puka. Of course, Dornoch is the full brother to last year's Kentucky Derby Mage. This horse is probably, as I wrote down, getting better with distance. Came out with a couple 86 speed figures. Comes back in Keeneland, breaks his maiden with a 95, and then came back in that Remsen, which you just saw that replay of, against Sierra Leone. And, of course, Sierra Leone just had the huge race down and the Risen Star, which has everyone gushing about Sierra Leone. So that certainly only is more flattering of a horse like Dornoch. Number 7, Frankie's Empire, trained by Michael Yates. I haven't read here the average winning distance of only 6.9. This horse had been running at Monmouth, moved up to Delaware, ran at Parks and Gulfstream Park. The last 2 races put up a coupled Brisnet speed figure of 93. And you can see the coupled patterns, starting off with 269s, 375s, 293s. This will be third off the layoff. So a step forward in a race that has the par figure at 98. Could possibly put Frankie's Empire in the mix. He'll certainly be coming from off the pace as he has shown in his last couple of races. And then you have Locked. And you can see in my blue there the fact that Locked missed training. Remember, he was supposed to debut in the Sam F. Davis at Tampa Bay and, of course, came down with a temperature. So the plan was to have a race already under the belt here as a 3-year-old. He does his best running late, as you saw there in the Breeders' Futurity, running down the Wine Steward, then finished a solid 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile behind Fierceness and Muth. You probably have to make your decision between Locked and Dornoch, I would think, unless you think that one of those 2 earlier horses who I talked about who are coming in on their second race, Victory Avenue and Speakeasy, can improve off of that race. The 4th place finisher in that race did actually come back to win. So that only makes these 2 a little bit more flattered as well. Speakeasy. It's interesting that Todd Pletcher brings Speakeasy in here. I don't think that that's going to be detrimental to Locked. I think it actually might hurt because he's going to be figured to be on the early speed, hopefully putting maybe some pressure on Dornoch if you are a Locked fan. The interesting thing, of course, as I mentioned, is what do you do with Locked in that time off? Now, he's come back with 2 workouts. February 16th, won 49 seconds, and 3 going 4 furlongs, and then came back with a 5 furlong race, 101 on February 24th. So he's got those 2 workouts in. Obviously, I have some rooting interest with Locked, but from a standpoint of looking at those 2 horses, I think I'd probably lean towards Dornoch. The fact that this horse has been consistently training, you can look back there on the January 30th bullet, only 6 horses worked that day, did 49 seconds flat, 4 furlongs. It's February 7th, February 16th, February 24th, including a 47-4 for 4 furlongs. These are the 2 horses that we're really, really excited to see return. It's really going to help shape up the picture for this year's Kentucky Derby, at least at this standpoint. Obviously, opinions have been made about Sierra Leone and Timberlake and even Fierceness. Fierceness's return in a field that many thought that he should take care of, finishing 3rd. Some of the other horses in the field here, Real Macho's your number 4, being ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. You can see here winning at 26-1 in an optional claimer on February 3rd, winning by a neck over Born Noble, who was a horse that I had talked very highly of. And there you see Merit in 3rd place in that race. He came from off the pace and closed really well with a +11 there for your pace setup later in the race. Your number 2 is Le Dombro. 1 1/8 at Aqueduct in the Remsen, finished 30 lengths behind Dornoch and Sierra Leone. That was of course on a muddy track, but he did have a second in the slop in his maiden special weight debut at Gulfstream. So not necessarily you can count out the fact that he didn't like the mud with the victory in that prior, but it makes you wonder if he's in too deep against horses like Dornoch and Locked here, and finished second behind Frankie's Empire, who we talked about here in the number 7. Outside is Dancing Groom, trained by Antonio Sano, ridden by Hall of Famer Javier Castellano. Last race was at Gulfstream Park in that Holy Bowl against Fierceness, finishing 5th behind the winner, Hades and Domestic Product, on that particular day. He did have some trouble at the break, but also might be in too deep. It ends up being, to me, between Dornoch and Locked. Those are the two that are going to make this extremely exciting as we take one last look at your prime power number. And you can see on the left there, I've highlighted in red the layoffs for Locked and Dornoch. Actually going back and looking at some of the horses this Derby season that have been racing off the longer layoffs. Timberlake came off a 113-day layoff and won. Stronghold off a 64-day layoff and won. Sierra Leone had a 77-day layoff and won. Nisos, of course, of the Bob Baffert barn, 76-day layoff and a win. And the only one that's really struggled was Fierceness, who had a 92-day layoff, finishing 3rd. In that same race against Sierra Leone, Anna Marie and Real Men Violin had layoffs of over 80 days. Obviously, they didn't finish in the money there. You got a lot of early speed, but Dornoch, I think, is the speed of that speed. And from a prime power standpoint, I always talk about that 10-point spread. It's Locked, Dornoch, and then actually interesting to see Victory Avenue, who sneaks in there 3rd with 137. Sometimes that's a little difficult to really rely on when you have a horse that's only raced one time. And of course, you can see right behind him is Speak Easy with the 134. So the real question is how those two horses will rebound off of their very impressive, at least according to speed figure numbers from Brisnet, standpoint, to see how they come back. Can they repeat something like that against what many figure to be the class of the class? Many have Locked and Dornoch as your top 5 for this year's Derby season, at least at this point, and that will certainly be mixed up as we take a look at all of the races this weekend. This is your next big weekend with 4 prep races, including the John Battaglia, and we are going to have you more than covered here on Trust the Prophet. So please hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to have doubling down. Like I said, we'll go back to the Fountain of Youth. I've already done the handicapping for that, and maybe we'll sneak in a couple extra episodes. The Formula will be back with his full field previews, and we'll be back on the Lounge Thursday night, which has been hitting unbelievably. If you haven't seen the Lounge, be sure to check in because those guys are winning cash like there's no tomorrow. Until next time, I'm Colin Sheehan. Please put in the comments who you like for this year's edition of the Fountain of Youth.